You're all back. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a... Oh, crap.
Oh, it is
It's
beautiful.
Monday. Monday got so good to me. Monday morning.
As you've
It's
not
all...
seen this. That's right.
Yep, here we go again. Good news is that the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season, and there's not a sign of a tropical storm or a hurricane on the maps. So you should feel good about that. And the problem is we're only 2 days into it, 182 days to go until the season is over. That's probably the last of the good news this week. Maybe the last we'll have until December 1st. Good morning. I'm Rayford Brown.
I'm Kelly Knapp.
I'm Lee Barrows.
How was your weekend, y'all?
This is Shockwave.
Hey, Shockwave.
Hey, Shocky.
He's getting his massage.
Yeah.
How was your weekend, Kelly?
It was a weekend. How was yours?
I stayed pretty busy around the house. I've got a lot of projects, and I am getting ready to start my quest on getting rid of the moles. I did a lot of deep research.
12 gauge.
It'll take 6 to 8 months to completely rid them, but
Okay, Caddyshack. We'll see.
yeah, girl.
You know, we need to put up some hidden cameras around our
I've
house.
already thought about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I text Rayford. I
we
told
can hide them in there.
I was
in
getting
different
ready.
places.
I was getting ready to get dynamite out.
That's a
Like I
little-
said, Caddyshack.
little extreme.
Mhm.
But yeah, I did a lot
Cherry
of
bombs are okay.
but you know, it's so surprising because some of the research I did took me to strange people's videos, and
Oh,
this one
I
guy,
didn't post anything
he's like, "Oh, I got rid of mine. I poured gasoline down the holes," and I'm like,
and lit it.
"What?"
I don't do it.
And some of the stuff people were posting was ridiculous.
You know, what happened to the days of something as simple as you just get a water hose and where you find that little hole where the critter has come up to
Right.
check things out, you put the water hose in there because it's a tunnel.
That's what some of the people did too, but that's not the way it works.
Why not? Have you
Can
tried
you
it?
collapse your whole yard?
How do you know it won't work if you haven't tried it?
Well, because the professional that I learned all this from, he said, no.
Okay,
and you
well,
know-
those are the people who want to charge you money.
No, this is an actual garden guru, and he's got all sorts of degrees in agriculture and all sorts of stuff. And
So what's he doing?
he owns a business.
Okay, but does he get rid of moles?
Oh, he explained the whole thing. I mean,
Can he get rid of moles?
well, I'm going to do exactly what he said because everything he said makes sense. You know why I have moles? Because I have grubs.
Yeah, we know that. That's what moles are there for.
And so they get in there and they build
You're
all
not
the
going to get rid of the grubs.
Yeah, you can. You get
Well, you
milky
got-
spore powder.
Yeah, go ahead and get yourself a tractor and a disc.
No,
And lots of poison.
I got this.
and a
I got
rake.
this covered. I will give you a report 6 months from now.
When the next batch of moles come in.
No, they're not coming back. They're not coming. I'm just thinking now, you know, if you have a neighbor you don't like, do you want to run them that way?
No, because they'll multiply and come back. You know what? Haven't you ever studied salmon?
I know. Yes, I know.
Think
all
about it.
that.
They always come home.
Well, that's like he said. He said one mole can have like up to 2 or 3 babies or up to 50 babies.
Yeah, at a time.
Yes.
That's a lot. I'm just saying.
Hey, well, he said those tunnels are so
You're thinking about having
deep.
50 kids around the house? Oh.
Yeah. Anyway,
You'd be one of those people we'd be reading about, wouldn't you?
That's why
I
stopped
think
it
I
too.
have found the solution. It's going to take a while of constant working on it, but
Okay. Okay. Now, electricity is my favorite, right?
right.
Put a couple of things in the ground.
I
right?
have dogs.
Well, you turn it on when the dogs are not outside, like at nighttime.
But what if the cat's out?
What if a rabbit goes in there?
Yum, yum.
I'm not
No.
doing anything
We're
that's
not
going
hurting
to be
animals.
The
harmful.
rabbits are not going to be digging a hole into the mole tunnel. You put these little electrodes down there, and when they cross over, and one of them's on the ground, and the critter's on the ground, and the other one is, you know, when you touch it, say,
Those are just tunnels,
Yum,
but
yum.
do you realize they have their own hotel? That's
well,
like
they go to the hotel and get some
you don't know where it's
ammonium
at.
nitrate.
You don't know where it's at.
Okay.
And it could be like 10 feet down. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Believe me, I did a lot of research. And then I studied on my weather spotter stuff. And
So you've still got moles.
No. This is my weather spotter.
But you still
course.
got moles.
Well,
I'm just trying to cut to the chase here. You got moles.
Well, I'm changing subject.
Have you finished your weather spotter stuff?
No, because I'm gonna tell you what now. Why do
You
I have
wanted to
to
be a
know?
meteorologist. You kept saying that. You always wanted to be a meteorologist.
I studied for hours, but there's more, and I finally had to like take a break from it. But the stuff that's in this course,
Uh-huh.
why do I need to know that to read a rain gauge? Rayford. But it's interesting. It's interesting. We go into all these stratospheres and
Stratospheres, and you got to look up in the sky.
I know, and all these topographic spheres, and I can't even begin to tell you.
Okay.
I was like, okay, I want a degree when I finish this one.
Went to a pack house the afternoon. Friends and
What'd you
relatives
do?
gathered to remember our friend Earl Jones, Cowboy
Nice.
Earl. He passed away a week ago today. It was obvious by the folks who gathered there that he was well respected and loved,
Mhm.
and he's going to be missed.
Yes.
There was not a lot of big wigs, none of that. No notable people type
It's just
things.
your next door neighbor
Nobody
people,
seeking
right.
publicity. He
Good.
was a guy in the neighborhood
Mm-hmm.
that touched a lot of lives. I have no idea how many students were there, but when I arrived for the visitation, there were people that were coming out by the droves that had already been in.
Wow.
I got there about 15, 20 minutes into the visitation, and they were coming out. There was not enough room there
Mm-hmm.
for everybody to hang for the
Bless
service.
you for going, yes.
And people were standing room only during the service. What was really kind of moving, the John son,
Don't
Don,
make me
one
cry.
of four, because he opened it up.
Mm-hmm.
Earl's brother is a minister, so he was kind of performing the service, but it was not like a typical funeral service.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Even during the formal funeral service, even he was talking about and telling jokes and about Earl. They weren't jokes; they were facts, and just remembering the good old days
Nice.
and all sorts of stuff like that. And he said, and then John got up again, and suddenly I had not noticed they were hidden. Kind of, I was toward the back of the church or the room,
Mm-hmm.
and there were a bunch of musical instruments up there.
Oh, I'm sure.
A bunch of musical instruments up there. So John walks up, and a bunch of kids get up.
Oh.
Grandkids.
Oh, my
no
gosh.
way. Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
that was absolutely moving.
Uh-huh.
I
And,
bet it was like
yeah.
a homecoming.
It was, and I was glad I went. So,
I'm
anyway,
so glad.
okie dokie. I did. You heard me last week, Kelly, cussing when I went over to a place to buy a device that I could download a hard drive that I had,
God.
Yeah,
and I spent $58 for
I
that
hear
device,
ya.
and it wouldn't work.
I know.
I mean, I couldn't make it work.
I could have told
I
you.
called them for assistance,
do
and that
that.
didn't help either because I had to pay another $180 to get some help with a device for the device that I bought from them. Called the company too. They were no help. They referred me to this company.
Mm-hmm.
Port 46.
So I
Go ahead.
called I called my nephew.
Mm-hmm.
He said to go order this device. I did. $10 later, it arrives,
And it worked, didn't it?
and I plugged my hard drive in, and then not the stuff that was on the hard drive just shows up miraculously on this
Mhm.
computer, and then I couldn't find my folders. I knew they were there 2 hours later, and with a little help from Robbie,
Mm-hmm.
she got frustrated and left. I
wonder
got
why.
frustrated and picked up the phone, and I called my nephew back, and he said, scroll down to it says users.
That
There's-
makes me laugh.
There were all of the
That
folders.
makes
Every
me
one of them on
laugh
this
to
2
hear.
terabyte hard drive were sitting right there.
I'll
I
tell
love
you,
it.
it can be so aggravating. I have
Uh, Now, my
gone.
nephew is a professional. He
Yes,
designs software
I know he
and stuff
does.
like
That's
that.
why
Okay.
you should
So-
have called him initially.
I
I
don't
hope
have-
that was a lesson learned to you.
that was 2 times. I should have called him first.
Yeah, tell you not to go that
Yeah,
other
I have
place.
gone and reset my entire laptop before. You have to save everything, and then you have to go reset it and start from scratch. But I don't mess with it anymore. I just go get a new one.
That's what I do.
Now I'm working
I don't
with
have
another
the
one.
patience.
I'm trying to talk my nephew into coming down here. I'll promise him anything.
Oh, now where's he at?
up north.
North. Okay.
I know where he's at.
And
Yeah.
I promised him anything, bring the wife and bring the kids, and I'll take care of everything. You just come in here and redesign this place.
Yes.
I didn't tell him that part yet,
Yeah.
but that's in my head. God, I hope he doesn't watch this show.
My son-in-law used to write programs for computers. I mean, he was doing all that until he
Yeah, me
switched
too.
jobs.
Him too. But anyway, he managed to help me get it done. How do I put this? I am computer stupid. I talk to people all over the world, but I'm computer stupid. So he, it's going to come down here and help me. In case you're not exactly sure what, I'm a little kilobyte short, perhaps. Maybe that's all I've got up my head is about a kilobyte. Now that sounds like a bunch of stuff. Kilo being 1,000, right? 1,000 bytes. Let me explain to you about kilobytes. Kilobyte, if you're not exactly sure what it is, if you're old enough, you can remember the dial-up internet connections. Remember those?
Yes, Lord.
64 kilobytes per second. That was the download speed. Got it? Remember that? 64 kilobytes. Boy, 1 kilobyte's 1,000 kilobytes. 64 kilobytes is like 64,000 bytes, right? But right now I got more than 600 megabyte download speed
Wow.
on this system in here.
Very good.
What's a megabyte? 1 megabyte is the same as 1,000 kilobytes. That's almost 10,000
I
times
thought it
as
was 1
fast.
million. No, you're right. 1,000, like 24 kilobytes.
What are you talking about?
You said a megabyte.
I did.
Yes.
I said this has more than 600 megabytes. Now, 1 megabyte is the same as 1,000 kilobytes.
24, right.
What's 24 got to do with anything?
1,024 kilobytes is 1 megabyte.
No. 1,000 kilobytes is a megabyte.
That's what I said.
It's got nothing to do with 24.
Well,
That's 10,000 times as fast as my dial-up connections from yesteryear. So I'm not real smart in the way of computers and math.
Well, that's why I don't fool with it. This is why I just throw it in the trash and buy a new one.
What am I
Right
going
here.
to do to get all the stuff here that I need? And it's not just a computer. I want a system. And when I was talking to him yesterday and talking to a friend of ours, Bob Williams, who's a computer,
Yeah, he knows.
yes, he
his
is
Guru,
stuff.
too.
smart.
Yeah.
and I want a system here.
Yeah.
I don't want to put anything on the hard drive on the system except the operating system. All the other stuff
Can
'cause
go on that. So
I
you
can keep
yeah.
this as a separate hard drive.
Yeah.
Plug it, unplug it, do what I want to with it. It's got 2 terabytes of space on it. That's a lot of space. 2 terabytes. You want to know how much a terabyte is? Don't ask. I'm not going to try to show you the number of zeros on that one. So, but anyway, it's got lots of room on it.
Well, good.
Oh God, what a mess. I don't even know where to go this morning. After yesterday, Sundays are awful days to have on earth. We should cancel every Sunday or require everybody to stay
I know
locked
it.
up on Sundays. In North Carolina, let's just start kind of, I guess, timeline. About midnight, Saturday night, a little after, which would put it Sunday morning, Sunday, a party out in Catawba County, that's near Hickory, of all places, Hickory. It turned deadly shortly after midnight. A dozen people were shot. One died. He's identified as a 58-year-old guy, Sean Hood of Lenore. One of the injured was in critical condition Sunday afternoon. Details are still kind of sketchy. Investigators recovered dozens of spent shell casings. It's believed that as many as 4 shooters were involved at this party in a very upscale neighborhood at a beautiful home. WB-TV sent a drone over and got aerials.
Yes.
Great looking neighborhood, exclusive looking neighborhood. They had we were told, the media was told, we weren't told, the media was told that it was a pool party by neighbors. Okay, you can have a pool party, I guess, but I'm not sure how many people in Catawba County this time of year are going to be jumping into a pool. So maybe just around the pool party.
Yeah.
But for some reason, gunfire breaks out. And over this 2-acre hunk of land that this house was on, they found initially over 80 shell casings, spent shell casings from different guns. And I guess they know that one long gun was involved. Don't know how many handguns, if any, but they know one long gun. That's a lot of bullets
It is
to be fired in a short period of
a
time.
whole lot.
And why?
Like something out of a movie.
What was going on? What would have sparked something like that? Did somebody come in from outside who didn't get an invite, or what? This is going to be a really screwed mess. The FBI has been called to assist, and since Catawba County Sheriff's Office, I mean, they don't run into a bunch of this stuff, so Hickory PD, they came to assist. This one's going to get complicated before it's over. It's going to get very complicated. Now let's go to Boulder. You know, that place is fast becoming the center of radical terrorist attacks.
Yep.
Right.
Why Boulder, Colorado?
Peaceful demonstration.
Yesterday at a mall, a man hurled what had been described as Molotov cocktails into participants in a Run for Their Lives event, a grassroots organization that facilitates global run and walk events calling for the release of Israeli hostages held by Hamas. I think there are still about 50 or so being held by
54,
Hamas.
I think. Something like that. You're correct. Go ahead.
Were sent to the scene to assist Boulder cops and handle the investigation as a terrorist attack or a hate crime for sure, at the very least. An Egyptian national who came into this country 2 years ago and overstayed his visa. So let me ask you the question. Does that make him illegal?
Yes.
You're not here on a valid visa. You didn't go home. Does that make you illegal?
Yes.
Yes. He's been charged in the attack. 45-year-old Mohammed Sabri Solomon was arrested at the scene. He was heard yelling, "Free Palestine," and other anti-Israel slogans during the attack on victims. The victims, 52 to 88 years of age.
Yeah.
8 people were initially listed as being critically injured by the firebombs. Solomon is booked into the Boulder County Jail on multiple felony charges now, including 1 count of explosives or incendiary devices used during the felony. And here's the one that got me, 2 counts of first-degree murder. Not sure what that's about. None of the victims were listed as being killed in the preliminary report. Solomon is being held under a $10 million bond. Video from the scene shows him yelling, "How many children you killed?" And we have to end Zionists. They are the killers. Now, this guy, if you haven't seen the online pictures, he's walking with no shirt on, carrying a Molotov cocktail in each hand. Somebody got a picture of him. That would have been close enough for me if I'd been there and as a cop, that's good enough. Bang.
Yeah.
Let him drop those Molotov cocktails where he stands. You can become a martyr.
Wow.
How do you explain this to kids? How do you, if you're a Jew, how do you explain this kind of
Does anybody?
How do you explain this kind of hatred in this country to a Jewish kid?
This hatred
Counselor?
is. Yeah. Well, you can't. But also, too, does this group, does anybody know what this group's been assembling since, for a couple of years now?
Yeah.
Since October 15, 2023. They are a grassroots group, and all they're doing is organizing like walks.
Yes.
Calling for the release for the Israeli hostages.
Yeah.
They're
not
there's
threatening.
58
They're not protest. I mean, they're not rebels. They're not armed militants. They're not radicals. They're just peaceful protesters
You know what the
in
irony
Boulder,
of it is?
Colorado.
The name of their group is Run for Your Life.
Yes.
And what were they doing yesterday?
Running for
their
lives.
life. It's just unreal.
I mean, there's 58 hostages still being held.
Yeah.
Okay. Why? Or people may not even know that.
Well, there are people that don't pay attention to news. Well, that's just, that's not that important. That's over there. That's not here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's a hate crime and it should be classified as such.
Well, I'm sure it will be.
I think it's an act of terrorism.
I think it's both.
Yeah.
Do it both.
Oh, well, you can charge it with that. And
One could feasibly argue that a hate crime is terrorism.
well, you could, but terrorism generally involves the masses, which this was terrorism because it involved the masses. I don't know how many people were at this event, this march.
Mm-hmm.
Enough.
Yeah.
Enough. Oh, well. What a sack of low-life crap.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't we go get him over the past 2 years since that visa expired? Oh, yeah, we never go after people like that.
Oh, we were busy getting the others.
No, we weren't. For
No.
2 years, we were not.
We
have been
We've only
the
been
last-
doing that for
since-
6 months.
No,
I'm just going to be quiet today.
Yeah.
Everything I've said is wrong.
No,
we've only been doing that for 6 months. The bad guys.
Well,
have been
yeah,
here. We didn't do
we've-
anything for years. Nothing.
Well, that's the Biden.
Not only under Biden, we didn't do it under Trump. We didn't do it under Obama. We didn't do it under Bush.
Yeah.
We certainly didn't do it under Clinton.
Mm.
When
Well, you know what I
if
meant.
we had done it way back then, we would have been through with this crap by now.
I'm just saying that everything has been so focused
Oh, yeah.
over
Yeah.
people coming through the border
Well, yeah,
that we've let these others slip through the cracks.
that's that smoke screen I've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the cartel is doing, trying to overload our system.
Well, it's been
And they-
effective.
And they've done a very good
It's
job.
worked. It has worked. I mean, but I think too, this is, I think this was planned. I don't think he just woke up and said, I'm going to go.
Oh,
Because
no.
this group met here a lot, apparently.
Yeah.
And what is interesting, this group started in California, in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And it spread across the United States.
Mhm.
I think this just adds to, like I said, I think this is a hate crime and a terrorism. I still maintain he should be charged with both.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I'm sure they'll add charges on
Murder.
I hope they-
Now,
I'm
if
sure.
you do it murder, if you kill somebody in a situation like that,
Mhm.
and it's a hate crime, and charged as a federal hate crime,
Right.
and an act of terrorism, you know what you're eligible for, right?
That's what I hope.
Maybe we could get another one up there on death row to join that Root or whatever his name is, the only one left.
But they said one person was severely burned, and they're out there demonstrating peacefully.
Yeah.
And then you've got somebody that wants to be a terrorist, and
They've been like the two Russian guys at the bombing in Boston.
Yeah.
At the marathon.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's just, we're going to have to take back this country.
amen.
We've gone beyond take back the night. We've got to take back this country now. And I know ways to do it, but we all are going to have to be involved in it. If you've got neighbors that you suspect of being
Right.
anything like this, if you got neighbors that you suspect or don't have the proper credentials to be in this country, if you got a house, a 3-bedroom house next to you, and you got 12 cars living there,
Mm-hmm.
clue one.
Well, it's just like, see, this organization does so much. They do a lot of things for children, and they raise funds. And like Kelly says, they peacefully demonstrate every weekend just about.
Yeah.
And they have the right to do that.
Yeah. What do
Whether
you
you
think they're
agree-
going to do now? Do you think they're going to continue? Do you think they're going to maybe add some security to their process.
I would add some security.
Oh, I'd add a lot of security.
Well, the thing about it is now he targeted a group of people whose ages range 67 to 88. Now, like I know, that some of those older people are not going to be able just to get up and start running.
Yeah, sorry. I can't run.
No, I can run
don't
if I
wanna.
have to, but I'll probably drop dead of not being able to breathe.
My
after a
legs
while,
would fall off, I think.
But he targeted a group like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's so sad.
Well, I think he targeted them because they were
They were weak.
pro-Jewish.
They were weak.
Mm-hmm.
He knew they were weak.
Oh, of course, yeah. That was his whole basis. But what I'm saying is, at that point, it was a group of older people that could not just say, "Oh, the man's got something in his hand. Everybody run."
Yeah.
Can you imagine an 88-year-old getting up and trying to sprint out of the area? I'm sure there are some 88-year-olds that could do that, but
better than I can. But
oh my!
I have to stand my ground.
ground.
Hint, hint. Okie dokie. Let's take a look at the marine forecast for the first week of hurricane season 2025. High pressure building in today behind a departing low from the west. It's going to be this way through midweek with seasonable and drier conditions expected. Out to 20 nautical miles today. Northwesterly winds 5 to 10 knots, becoming westerly this afternoon. Seas around 2 feet. They're about six seconds apart today. Sounds and rivers of light chop, diminishing to flat this afternoon. Tomorrow, easterly winds 5 to 10 knots. Seas around 2 feet. Kind of small, but only 3 seconds apart, making it a wee bit choppy. Sounds and rivers a light chop. Easterly winds on Wednesday 5 to 10 knots. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Sounds and rivers a light chop.
Today's sunny, yay, high of 82. Tonight, mostly clear, low of 56. Tomorrow, sunny, high of 84. Tomorrow night, clear, low of 59. And on Wednesday, sunny, high of 85.
Not too hot, not too cold. It's just right?
Weekend's looking like it might be,
Yeah, we won't talk about that yet. It can change.
It can.
Change between now and then.
True.
Eastern North Carolina, a woman got busted on felony drug charges over the weekend. 60-year-old. You're almost reaching that age, right?
I'm 56, yeah.
A 60-year-old woman, Desiree Anderson, wouldn't she know better by now? She was stopped by the Duplin County Sheriff's Office narcotics unit, who say they found drugs, paraphernalia, and cash. Do you not think she was targeted? Do you think they accidentally drove up on her and did a traffic stop on her? No, dummy. They knew who you were. She's charged, among other things, with possession with intent to distribute. She was jailed under $25,000 bond. Anderson has a lengthy criminal record dating back to the 1990s. She's a born-again loser. A couple of narcotics charges are included, but most were misdemeanor worthless check offenses, and I'm talking about multiple pages of worthless check convictions.
Wow.
That means, by the way, she's writing bad checks. They were no good. They bounced. She also had her share of driving offenses during that period of time. But, really, we talk about teenagers. You need to grow up. 60 years old, you've got dope in your car, you're transporting narcotics, and enough to make it possession with intent to sell. Whoops. Not good. Not good. So wonder she didn't have grandchildren in the car with her, but you know how that is. They call one coming back that I know about intimately back in the, I guess, early 2000s. She left Wilmington. I had the information. She left Wilmington. I wasn't a cop, but I for some reason, people used to still give me information. So she's headed over up there to Duplin County. I didn't know anybody in Duplin County, but I did know a guy that used to work in New Hanover County who was now a narcotics officer, was then a narcotics officer in Pender County. So I called him. I said, listen, here's the tag number. The lady's description, here's her name, and here's where she's going, but it's not your turf. Do not stop her going that way. You wait for her to come back, because she'll be coming back to New Hanover County. And he said, are you sure? Yep. Well, he had a brand new sheriff at that time. So he said, you're good. You're good stuff. I said, it's got good stuff. So he called me 3 times. He said, "Are you sure she's coming back with dope?" I said, "I am." "How do you know?" "I can't tell you." But she got back, and he finally called me. He said, "I got the sheriff with me. I asked him to come along with me because I knew you had good stuff." And I said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yeah." So they got him. He came back and he called me. Got him in Pender County, and he said, "Oh, you were spot on." And not only did she have all that dope, she had her child in a baby seat, in a car seat in the car.
That's crazy.
She's gone.
Oh yeah,
Crazy.
That's her second offense for the same thing. She's gone.
happens a lot. Yep.
I
One
hope.
and done. Twice and fried as well.
Let's
So,
hope.
what else is happening? Anything?
I want to say congratulations to the Jacksonville Oscar Saturday night against
Yay!
Huber and Southpaws. They 14-4.
Oh, that's sweet.
Oh, they squeaked by, huh? 14
Yeah.
to 4.
You go Ospreys.
I wonder if there was a good crowd from.
It was a packed
Fans.
crowd from what I
Okay,
heard.
good.
Hey,
Yay!
there you go.
Rain and all. The
Ospreys.
people stayed right out there during the rain.
What rain?
There was some rain out there last night. I had rain at my
I didn't
house.
count it.
I had rain at my house.
Hmm.
It was light rain, but then later in the night had a little shower burst
After
through.
the game.
So, like when you said that there were some thunder boomers, yeah, I was getting them too. We all were.
We were having rolling thunder, pardon the pun, Paul, but we had actually,
Thunder.
I had to turn the TV off because I thought there were sounded like tanks on the move. It just, you should have heard it at your house, Kelly, because it was coming from that general direction.
Well, I was hearing it. Yeah.
It was rolling,
Yeah.
roll. It just kept on. And
Sure, it
on
wasn't a
and
tornado.
on. No, it wasn't that loud or that pronounced. It was just rolling thunder. And I
Yeah.
kicked the radar up and I said, "Yeah, it's light. That must be a lot of cloud to cloud lightning going on because
Yeah.
it wasn't any real
It was
sharp stuff
thunder.
hitting the ground."
Mhm.
Kind of interesting.
And here's another PSA for anybody that's looking for a job. There's NC Works job fairs tomorrow
Yeah.
from 10 to 2 at the American Legion building. Be a lot of
That's here in Onslow County, y'all.
yeah, it's open to
Jacksonville.
veterans and the general public. The first hour is reserved for veterans, so from 10 to 11 it's that.
Yep.
But after that, there will be a lot of employers in there.
Yeah. There are a lot of folks that are still looking for employees. They're still looking
Yes.
for help.
Yes.
You guys, your money should have run out by now. And instead of just hoping you're going to get some more free stuff, why don't you get on down there and get yourself a job? This job, there will be jobs. I guarantee you there will be positions available in a location. It might be starter positions, but they could lead to a career.
Exactly.
I guarantee you there are businesses out there looking for career-minded individuals.
Well,
So if you got the mess,
yep.
ooh, I cleaned that up fast. If you got the right stuff, as the astronaut said, if you got the right stuff, then
Oh,
slide on by and sit down and have a chat. I don't know. We got 2 of the hard-headedest world leaders that I can remember, and neither one of them is Donald Trump. These 2 individuals just won't stop shooting at each other. Efforts to end the fighting between Ukraine and Russia, it doesn't stop them. President Trump thought he had the beginnings of what he called a peace movement. We're going to have maybe ceasefire. You guys will stop shooting. We'll sit down and talk and maybe let things smooth over. Putin doesn't want to continue doing this, but he does. He cannot understand that he's not going to win this thing. First of all, he's going to die before it's over unless he brings an end to it. So how does he want to go out as somebody who's going to have to surrender after you're dead, dude? Or you can go out gracefully and say, yes, let's have a ceasefire, and these are the terms. Let's work out the terms between me, I'm Putin, and Ukraine Zelensky. Yes, that's what I said, and I said exactly what I meant. You shouldn't have laughed.
It was the look on your face.
Russian troops invaded Ukraine, about 2 years ago?
Right. I'm in a
They were sure Russia knew for a days is what they gave it. 2 years later. I don't know how many tens of thousands of Russian troops have been killed. More Russians have been killed during this thing, and the Ukrainians have been killed than were killed, than all of the Americans killed in Vietnam in 10 years. Listen, people, it's time for you to stop it. What are you going to gain? Zelensky has now answered Russians, the most recent attacks, with an invasion force going deep inside Russia. He led it himself. The president of Ukraine went into Russia with a bunch of Ukrainians to attack them on their home turf.
I can remember
Wait.
when it all first started, us sitting
Yeah.
here talking about it.
Ukrainian forces
We never
hit,
expected it was going to last
No.
this long.
Ukrainian forces hit 5 Russian
Yeah.
airfields, damaging or destroying dozens of bombers and fighter jets. Sneak attack.
Mm.
Well, I mean, they both done it.
Oh, yeah.
This needs to just end.
But Russia had started it up again.
Yeah, I
And
know.
then Ukraine said, well, we'll just go in there and blow your stuff up.
Yeah. I mean, you can't blame them. I see both sides of this, but let's just move on from this. Y'all
Quit it.
both need to stop.
We need
Yeah.
let's build a wall between them and leave them. Just stop it, y'all.
Yeah. Well, Putin's not going to give up. I mean, we
He
all
will,
know
because
that.
he's going to die. He's at
Well.
that point that he could go any day, according to the things that I read. Trump's a little miffed with Ukraine
Yeah.
for
Well,
continuing.
well,
But
Trump
what
got-
are you going to do
But
if you
Trump got a little ticked off with Putin too.
yeah,
last
but
week.
if you
I mean,
keep
he's-
shooting at me, I'm
Yeah.
going to shoot back. I don't
Yeah.
care if it's a so-called ceasefire or not. A
I agree.
ceasefire is a two-way street.
Mhm. I mean, you can't argue it. It's
Well, what
just,
made him mad with Ukraine this time is because Ukraine did not call him and say, "Hey, listen, we're going to
here's
retaliate."
what I'm going to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
so they didn't tell him. Loose lips sink ships.
Mm.
That's true. And,
Not exactly sure how
and we
long.
know Trump has difficulty just keeping his mouth shut in general.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So,
Not sure how long.
Yeah.
That we're going to be helping Ukraine now.
I
don't
didn't
know.
think we were helping Ukraine
Yeah, we
anymore.
still getting-
I
they're-
thought Trump
they're
was
still
kind
getting
They're
of,
stuff.
still getting money
Oh.
and stuff.
I
Here's
thought
some
he was
good
trying to
news.
curb that.
The Jacksonville Police Department and the Youngsville County Sheriff's Office joining forces.
Yeah.
They're going to get and they're going to put together first responder kits for kids. The
Mhm.
event will take place on the 11th next week at 10 o'clock in the morning at the Jacksonville Department of Public Safety. We know that is the Jacksonville PD, y'all, down on 17 South. This initiative is part of the City of Jacksonville's COSUP, that's Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Substance Use Program. It's aimed at reducing opioid use and reducing adverse childhood experiences related to substance use in families. This is what it's all about. Kits for Kids. The First Responders Kits for Kids program, founded by a couple of people, James Fisher Davis. He's from Eastern North Carolina originally, and Kevin Gatlin. They're both fathers, and they're living in the Charlotte area. They
Yes.
recognize the need for a way to help the first responders alleviate children's anxiety during these
On
tough times
calls,
when their
yeah.
parents and siblings and whatever are doing dope.
Mhm.
They understand that first responders frequently encounter distressed kids when they make
Especially
calls.
on overdose
Yeah.
scenes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
The-
I know some kids have actually had to Narcan their
Oh,
parents.
oh my
You want to
God.
talk about traumatic?
That's
It's traumatic.
sad.
The two men developed the kits, put them together to offer a straightforward,
Mhm.
what they call an impactful method for providing comfort and security during first responder service calls.
Mhm.
Each kit contains special items to engage and comfort children during emergencies. It includes a playtime disposable play pad featuring 25 interactive activities, crayons, a Rubik's Cube for cognitive stimulation, miniature emergency vehicle, Play-Doh, a puzzle game, noise canceling earplugs.
Nice.
What better thing? A colorful stress ball, hand wipes, and a handwritten note from first responders providing encouragement.
I need one of those kits.
This whole thing's been featured on
Play-Doh.
all of the networks. All of the networks. It's, I'm anxious to see and talk more with these guys. I think this is going to be good. It's supported by the North Carolina Association of Chiefs of Police
Mhm.
and also endorsed by the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, highlighting the nationwide impact and commitment to ensuring that first responders have access to these vital resources. You can learn more about this. I'll send you the link. PS whatever. First Responders Kits for Kids.org. First Responders Kits for Kids.org. And you can follow the First Responder Kits for Kids on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube.
Yeah, I have it. In fact, I was just
You got it?
Yes, okay. I'll get it and put it on our page. Yeah.
It's this is good. The Onslow Sheriff's Office, they put out a release last week, I think it was, about this, that they were teaming up with the PD, and that's what they're doing here in Onslow County. They got two big organizations teaming up.
Nice.
This thing's going to be putting these kids together on the 11th.
Very nice,
So,
very nice. Yeah, I'll tell you.
I mean, we heard about cops. I mean, this is going on, 50 years ago with little teddy bears. When you go to a house with
They
domestic
still do that.
domestic
Yes.
violence, that's kind of when it started. You got to try to Rex any situation. Sometimes you just need a teddy bear.
Yeah.
Sometimes at any age, you just need a teddy bear. Lee's probably still got one.
I might have one
I figured as
or
much.
two. Actually, I have a basset hound. Bear type.
Does that make your dogs jealous?
I won't let them near it because they'll eat it. They'll tear it up. But yeah, I some
They'll
people
shake
have
the
teddy
stuffing
bears.
out of it, literally.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can't buy my
Skid
dogs
it.
anything but those real tough toys that you cannot tear apart.
Yet.
Like those Kong toys. Anything
Oh,
else,
those things. Yeah.
they will shred it in
I
just
think they
within
need to
an
make
hour.
airplanes out of those things. God.
Well, they're rat terriers. They're good for digging and tearing stuff up. So
Yeah. Y'all are familiar with storms, weather stuff, right?
Mhm.
Thunderstorms,
yes,
tornadoes,
yes,
hurricanes,
yes,
and the resulting flash flood and destruction that occurs with them.
yes.
We're hearing more and more about another storm called a geomagnetic
Yeah,
storm. I'm not
that
sure
was-
what it's all impacted, but I'm going to give it a go because I know a little bit.
That started last night, man.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I know a very little. It started before last night.
Yeah, well, I was watching. They said the worst of it was starting last night across the country.
That was the worst of it.
Yeah.
What's happening now actually started Friday with what was described as a huge coronal mass ejection, a CME.
Say that again 3 times.
CME.
No, not that.
I'm not
It's like
stupid.
MRE.
I got through it once. You think I'm a dummy? That's like taking one of those 500-yard shots with your pistol
Yeah,
and you're hitting the
right.
target.
Yeah.
I do it again.
with your eyes
That would be
closed.
stupid.
Right.
This CME results in a burst of solar and accompanying magnetic fields coming from our sun, that little booger, and that triggered a CME storm alert. I didn't get one on my alert radio. I don't know what's wrong,
I didn't either.
but I got one over there on that radio, a bunch of them. It seems to have peaked out on Sunday. Maybe it's peaked out. It's still with us. Displays of northern lights, usually seen only way up yonder, up north, were on display even way down south. The problem is we had a lot of clouds and stuff.
Well, I had a thunderstorm last night. I wouldn't have been able
We
to
had
see
that too.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched
Most of those light displays in the south actually happened at the peak during daylight hours. During the daylight hours, you're not going to
You
see.
can't even see
lights.
it anyway. Yeah.
It primarily affects technology and infrastructure,
Yes.
causing disruptions to power grids, radio communications, especially in certain frequencies, and satellite operation, but it doesn't directly harm humans, sort of. Your hair won't fall out and it won't turn to another color.
Wow.
For radio communications, long-range ham comms in the high frequency ranges were impacted bad. In reality, pretty much all weekend. So-called skip conditions, that's what people in the CB world understand. Signals bounce up and down from the ionosphere. Well, the ionosphere is a layer that circles the Earth. High-frequency radio waves get bounced and relayed around the world when the ionosphere is being normal. That little layer of our atmosphere is kind of wacky right now. That's an electronics engineering word, by the way. Wacky. Just go. You may have a bit of trouble connecting to as many GPS satellites. Now we're going to talk about y'all problems. To as many GPS satellites as you normally do, and that will affect the pinpoint accuracy normally associated with the GPS system. Smartwatches, ding, like mine. Smartwatches with GPS locator applications may be a little slow to hook up. Their receivers are not nearly as sensitive as your car or your boat GPS units. Now, for you boaters, that place that you normally had marked where the big fishing was always good, you might not come within a mile of it or so.
Right.
Instead of within yards. Because with a GPS, we could actually go back and anchor up in the same spot we did before. But if you're going to be, that GPS is not as accurate because you can't get as many satellites to pop up at the same time. Good luck. Not exactly sure how many power grids have been affected. I haven't heard of any power outages widespread. Have you?
Not a thing.
They said power grids, but I don't. No studies have confirmed a direct impact on human well-being. However, a loss of power or communications, this is on your world now. It may not make your hair fall out, but things like can cause, especially if it's prolonged, and your cell phone's not working good, your GPS is not working good, those little smart devices you got around there, they're not working good.
My cell phone
Will
was
that
all
have an
messed up
impact on people
yesterday.
these days?
Yeah, because people panic.
They don't know what to do.
Have you seen people that,
They
someone that can't find their phone?
Yes.
I
They will
Yeah.
drive around the block. They will get out. They'll call a search party to go look for the phone that slid down in their stuffed chair. They finally come back and find it at home. Right? How many
look at kids
how
that
many times do you call your own phone from another phone?
I use
to look for
Alexa
it?
to call mine.
I've done it a couple of times.
A lot of people
Yeah.
do on a regular basis.
That's where you're only going to be in a problem if you have it on.
That's the problem.
Well, I also
Then you
have
get-
it
shh,
on my
everybody,
watch.
shh, everybody get quiet.
Yeah.
I also
Listen
have
for
it
the
on my
buzz.
watch where I can
There it
set it
is.
on my phone too.
I had figured out how to make my watch. I mean, I have an Apple Watch because I have an Apple
Good
phone,
luck.
but doggone if I can. I can't even
Let's
figure out
see.
how to answer my phone on my watch.
Things should get back to normal
Yeah.
soon,
Let me
okay?
see.
So don't panic. But if you hear the theme from the Twilight Zone or banjos playing in the background,
Let me see.
then you might want to head for your fallout shelters. Oh,
Well, I think if you hear the
All right.
purge sound, you better head for something.
forgot about that.
Well, I don't know. I
Fallout
watched,
shelters, another thing from the past that nobody knows anything about,
I
right?
watched the
Right.
PA storm trackers last night for a while where they set up in a great big field where they could actually see the sky and everything. And I was like, it just,
Yeah.
it was really
magnetic.
not.
It's
some-
It wasn't
magnetic.
like what you see up
Right.
like
It's magnet.
Alaska.
Have you ever seen magnet force without something? Have you ever stood at a magnet over there in
Yep.
the corner and looked
Yep.
at the force? You can't see a force.
I should have
Right.
tried the broom thing last night.
The what?
Oh, I didn't even think
The
about that.
broom thing is where you go and you just stand a broom up in the
And it will
room
stand.
and it will stand by itself.
Only if you're a witch.
Let's
Open-
not even go there.
open-
Kelly.
That
open
means
the
all
door.
mine will be.
Open the door on that one. didn't
Yeah.
we?
I still have pictures from the time I did that a long
Yeah.
time ago.
You stood
Yeah,
a broom up
everybody
by
was
itself?
doing it there one time. What?
I've never heard of that.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a thing. Where
It's
people
a
will stand a
thing.
broom up in the middle of the floor and let it stand.
Well, this one.
That's not a broom.
It's crazy.
It has to be a broom. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to
What
be a
kind of broom?
straight edge
Like a
broom.
broom.
Not like a regular
A
kitchen broom.
broom,
Yeah, a
like
broom.
like a
a
straight
straw
edge.
broom.
Yeah, like a straw broom.
Will any other kind of broom work?
I don't know. All I had
I
was a
think
straw
so, but I'm
broom.
not 100%.
And you had one stand up?
I mean, I stood, I
I've
took
seen it done.
pictures
I
of
haven't
it.
done
I'll
it, but
have to
I've seen
find
it
a
done.
picture of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can take a picture of one just standing there.
No, you don't hold
this
it.
was for real. Everybody was posting.
I'd have
Yeah.
to see.
It's a
moving
it's like a
pictures.
challenge. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Do you know who Patricia Krenwinkel is? Krenwinkel?
I don't think
What
so.
was the last name?
I'm sorry, Patricia Krenwinkel.
That one's-
I don't
Recognize the
think
name?
I recognize the
No.
name. Why do I recognize the name?
Charles Manson
Oh,
girl,
that
the
girl.
one that stabbed
Oh.
Sharon Tate.
Yeah,
And wrote the blood on the wall?
Yep. Oh.
She's up for parole, been recommended for it. Again, she's the longest.
500 years old.
She's 77. She's the
Oh,
longest
right.
serving female inmate in California. There's only 2 Manson family members left in prison.
Wow.
Then-
She's one of the 2.
Then just
Well, the parole board has recommended her, but
she
it's
needs
got
to be
to
on
go.
earthquake watch.
It's got to go to.
What?
There was a hearing Friday, and of course, Sharon Tate's family member got up and said, "Do not, allow her to be paroled."
Just it's okay. Let her go.
But the little parole board recommended her, but now it's got to go to the governor, and this is the
Oh,
second time she's been recommended. The first time Governor Newsom denied it.
Yeah.
So they don't know what
He
he's
was
going to
running
do
for
this time.
re-election then. Now he's running for president.
Yeah.
Well, he said that in 2022 when she was up that she still posed a danger to society.
Well, that's easy to say.
Yeah. So, I mean, y'all got to remember, Sharon Tate was like 9 months pregnant.
Yep.
8 months pregnant when she was stabbed and shot to death in that house.
Yep.
And Krenwinkel also killed Abigail Folger. Y'all know who she is, like the coffee. Stabbed her 28 times. I mean, I just can't. But yeah, so she's up for
Life
parole.
in prison
Well,
is
they were-
life in prison.
I
That means
agree.
until death do us part.
Well, she was originally given a death penalty, and then
I understand.
California
they
reversed
commuted.
it. Yeah.
Well, they commuted all that.
Yeah. Well, I say keep her in there.
The Supreme Court commuted all.
The only other one left, I just looked this up.
sentences.
Tex Watson, who's 79, he's
Yeah.
still in jail. He's the only one left. The other ones,
Quote.
Susan Atkins died in 2009. One of them was paroled in 2023, Leslie Van Houten or Hooten. Yeah. And the only reason she got paroled, Newsom rejected it,
Yeah.
but she appealed to U.S. Court of Appeals, and they let her out. These idiots. So,
I'm just trying to understand why.
Mm-hmm.
Why? How? It's a wonder somebody didn't pardon her.
mhm.
At the federal level. No, she wasn't in there for federal crime.
Yeah. No, it was state crime. Yeah.
Anybody hearing much about the P. Diddy trial?
Only it's been very interesting.
Oh, yeah,
I've
there's-
read about it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
There's a whole lot of stuff coming up.
Some of the news people that
Mhm.
are in there that are Xing and everything on it. I mean,
I don't care.
New York doesn't allow cameras in their courts, so you have to wait and read everything.
That's
as
so
it comes
wild.
out.
I'm really
Some-
surprised
It's
that they
enough,
don't.
it's enough of a zoo in New York. You
Yeah.
don't want cameras in a
I
courtroom
mean-
there.
Yeah.
Some
That might
of
cause
the
a lot of judges to
witnesses-
get, unelected.
some of them telling their stories about how he beat them, and it's just, of course, this is witnesses right now talking. Of course, the jury has to decide, but some of the stories have been horrific. Very horrific. How one man can think he has so much power
Yeah.
over women. Ugh. And then Kelly and I were talking about this at the Gatlinburg yesterday,
What a mess.
where a driver, she had a heart attack is what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lost control and hit the accelerator, and caused a 5-car accident and 6
Yeah.
people taken to the hospital.
Yep.
Some of them were pedestrians that
Yeah.
were crossing the road when all
Yep.
this happened.
Very sad.
I mean, let me tell you, Saturday morning I ran errands, went to a couple stores, and I know you both do it. Whenever I see somebody getting ready to cross over to the sidewalk, I stop.
Mhm.
Yeah, but Saturday, people were crazy. I went to the crosswalk and a car has stopped to let me into the crosswalk. And as I was getting ready to, go across, here comes another car and he passes the one that stopped
Oh,
for
really?
me. And I'm like, and that happened like 3 times Saturday.
Oh.
3 times.
Well, you do know it's a parking lot, right?
Yeah.
So the reckless driving still applies there.
Right. Well, I'm the type that I'll wait if the car stops and waves me through. I'll go across, but I don't assume that anybody's going to stop just because you're at a crosswalk.
I agree with
when
that.
one
Yeah.
stops, you
Yeah.
expect the one behind him
Exactly.
to also stop, right?
No, he came up and passed, and I was like,
How much of a
Wow.
hurry do you have to be in?
I know.
Bubba,
Where could
have
you
you
be
got
going?
diarrhea coming on or something?
One happened-
Otherwise, that is about the only thing I can think of.
One happened at the Food Lion parking lot, and the other time it was over near the Target area twice.
I
Oh my
forgot.
God.
Last week, one day, I had to go to a store. I don't know where it was, but I'm like, okay, I didn't expect anybody to stop for me with a car coming, and I'll just wait. Not a problem. I'm not that big a hurry. I got over that a long time ago. But I was thinking to myself, until you bring this crap up, all of these people will stop. I'm standing there getting ready, waiting, but I'm not in a hurry. It's okay. And they'll stop and wave me across.
Yeah,
I'm like, God, we live in a great place.
I know it, and I'll stop anytime for anybody.
I do too.
I think it's the right thing to do. Of course, especially if they're at a crosswalk, you're supposed to stop anyway.
Yeah, you should.
There was something Saturday going on. I'm like, I don't
wow.
know what's going on, but
It's the geomagnetic storm.
it must have been.
It,
That's why this weekend was so bad everywhere.
yes.
In Oregon, you had 11 people stabbed at a homeless shelter. They've got the suspect in custody. You'll have that. You'll have
What
the
you gonna do with
shooting in
him?
North
Horror.
Carolina. You had a police officer killed in California answering
Another
the
one
call.
wounded.
Yeah, and another one wounded. It was, and most of it started early Sunday morning. You're right. I think it's the geomagnetic
stuff.
storms.
Well, I sent Lee a picture of Holden Beach, that bear on the beach, and
Oh,
everybody
gosh.
running.
You had a
Have you seen that?
bear
Was
woman
this-
on the beach or bear man on the beach?
No, a grizzly.
No, he wasn't a grizzly.
That was Holden Beach. Everybody
Oh,
scouring.
little black.
little
bear.
black bear
Big
on the
enough for
beach.
me to run.
People
No,
running
that's-
for their life.
You got, that's a small bear.
It's
but
but it'll tear you
where's
down.
Mama?
Yeah.
That's the one you need to worry. Don't go petting a small
A
cub. If you
bear is a
find one,
bear. I don't care if he's 400 pounds or 1,000 pounds. A bear's a bear.
a 50-pound bear is considered to be an adult. But let me explain something.
Oh,
If you
no.
go there and you go see a couple of 50-pound bears playing together, they're just playing. But over there in the wood line, out of sight,
Where was
is Mama. So don't go over there thinking, "Oh, this would be cute." No.
I posted a picture.
You could become dinner very quickly.
Yeah, I'm
At
just
least
like,
you'll get the stuffing smacked out of you. And have you ever seen a bear paw up close?
Yes, I actually have.
I have too.
no.
They're huge.
Oh yeah, they are.
And they got. How long were those little old pointy claw things that you had on your doggy?
They were long enough, but they got cut.
Uh huh.
This
They're
was
taking a chainsaw to cut them off a bear.
Saturday,
Mm.
Bald Head Island.
That's not unusual down that neck of the woods.
Look at that alligator.
Oh yeah, I saw
Now,
that.
I posted the video of this-
Bald Head is surrounded by salt water, right?
This thing is huge. He's a monster.
Was that on the golf course?
It was on the golf course,
They
Bald
like golf
Head
courses.
Island. Yeah,
What is it about golf?
and they
courses
call
that
him
like?
Fluffy. He has a name. They call him Fluffy.
That's because they used
Fluffy?
to have a
Yep.
cat there named
He
Fluffy.
looks mean.
Rayford.
Rayford, what did you eat this morning?
Well, that's
Nothing.
like
He's
I'm hungry.
ornery.
that's like
I
the
agree.
gator that they got over on Old 30 that they captured last
Uh-huh.
week.
Yeah.
And then I saw a posting on Facebook where a lady that lives in that area had lost her little dog was missing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Well, that may or may not be the reason, but
I know, but
you
Think
put
about
two and
it.
two together and came up with 7.
Well,
Yeah, wild critters. You got to respect them. Whether
I
it's
respect
in the
him.
ocean
I'm
or
gonna tell you.
wherever
Yes.
it is, whether it's sharks, barracuda. I'm telling you, folks, some of those things that, and I have not much doubt because they saw one right in the water right after last week in Sunset Beach, where the guy got hit on the leg.
Oh yeah,
But they're-
they assuming it was a shark.
Well, yeah, they assume it's a shark because as he was trying to get out of the water, being bitten, the shark was seen on the surface swimming away.
Right.
So that's a pretty good assumption.
Yeah, I would think so too.
But there's sometimes people are fishing, standing in the water, doing nothing, just standing in the water because they can't find the bathroom, and
Yeah.
then you get
Yeah.
bit by a shark
Mhm.
or something. Now, the big fish feed up there on those little fish, and they're not necessarily sharks that are feeding barracuda. Other big fish, big bluefish,
Mhm.
will take a hunk out of your
Yeah,
hide in a heartbeat.
they have like teeth.
They
That's what I said.
they
Yeah.
have teeth.
Oh,
You catch a bluefish, and I mean, even when we were fishing for blues, you had to be very careful when you bring them in the boat or on the fishing pier because those
Yeah.
things flopping around. They got some sharp razor teeth.
I've caught them before and things, but somebody else had to take them off the hook for me because I was like, no,
Why not?
no, they have teeth.
We'll just take the hook out.
Yeah, go ahead and stick your hand in
Oh,
there.
you don't do that. Just grab them by the neck and hold on to them so they can't move.
That's like taking
I'm
a
not
hook out of a
alligator, right?
catfish. You
Yeah.
have to be so careful
Don't
with
do any of that.
catfish
I don't fish.
because they'll get you. That's right. Now, see, that's when you act like a helpless female and some guy will come along and do it for you, and you go, thanks.
You just hope he's not twinkle toes.
Well, there's been more. Y'all know I got to fly again next month, and there's been another.
Oh,
tell you what.
I know
Why don't
every
you just
day.
drive?
American
leave
Airlines
tomorrow.
has just been busy. Last week, a 24-year-old was on a flight. Now, let me see where this guy started. He's from Kansas. Is that where the flight started? Oh, no. He was leaving Hartford, Connecticut, and was headed to Chicago. He was on American Airlines flight. Half hour into, but 30 minutes to an hour later, during the flight, he stands up from his seat, takes off his shirt, and ran to the back of the plane. He starts yelling, "Help me." Now, right there, can you imagine on a plane, you start to hear nonsense. This can affect everybody because
Yeah.
it can cause a lot of panic because,
Panic.
Yeah. So then
Putting on my
there
parachute.
was a flight attendant who was seated. You know how they sit in the back in those little jump
Yes.
seats?
Oh, I've
He
seen-
grabbed the flight attendant and started saying, "You're coming with me."
To where?
And then
This is an
threw,
airplane. Where are we
and then
going?
threw the flight attendant on the ground and tried to drag the flight attendant up the aisle. So apparently, thank goodness for a bunch of restrained Mr. Priester and helped him to his seat. And he was incoherent the whole time. Well, the pilot declared emergency, had to turn back around and go back to Connecticut.
Is that the one they asked for some flex cuffs?
No, that was the
tie
one where
wraps?
the Marine carried his, that
Okay.
Sergeant
Well,
Major.
which one is it when
This
one
is-
of the pilots came out and helped?
This,
They should not be leaving the
This-
cockpit.
I don't know, but this guy, the pilot, just diverted the flight, and Connecticut State Police met him at the thing, kept everybody on the plane. They took him away.
He was
charged. They charged him.
He's got a mental issue.
Yeah, and they charged with interfering with flight crew members and
Federal
attendants.
offense.
And it's a maximum terms of 20 years in
Your
prison.
flying days are over, dude.
Yeah. And so they've got, so then everybody stayed on the plane but that guy. But can you imagine? I mean, when you start to hear that and you're in the air, this can cause panic for everybody.
Yeah.
Period.
I just want to get
Because
a big old guy and put him in
like the
front of me.
guy where the Marine, the Sergeant Major,
Yeah.
the guy had already taken one of the door things. I mean, he's already gotten part one of the door when the Marine realized and subdued him with his own his own zip ties that he carries. I'm gonna start carrying that rifle. But that can cause a lot of panic.
Mhm.
So no.
Get the long industrial grade ones, okay? About this
You can
long.
do that.
About this long. Okay. Because you can put two of them together. You
Yeah.
know how to do that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But if you will put one around each hand
Uh-huh.
tightly and put another one in between them.
Oh, that's a good idea, like just like cuffs.
And
yeah.
then secure it to the bulkhead.
Yeah.
You talking about those jump seats?
Yeah.
I had to ride in one of those
I've ridden on one before. It's,
because and the missing connections
Mhm.
and stuff. And the only place we have for you is the jump seat by the
Mhm.
bathroom door. I'm gonna tell you what.
Convenient.
It's
The bathroom door kept flying.
yeah,
open.
and the seats are uncomfortable. I mean, these flight attendants.
I just grabbed a
I don't
tray
know
in
how they
front of
set
me.
that.
Look, it was like riding a roller coaster. So I'd be screaming. Nobody could hear me, because the roar of the engines, and the bathroom door kept flopping open.
Mhm.
And the stewardess came back and said, "If you don't mind closing that and keeping it closed," I'm like, "It's bad enough.
You got some
I'm
tape?
sitting back here."
Give me some
Really.
duct tape. I'll close it for you.
Oh man, but what a ride that was! It was like being on a roller coaster.
Mhm.
How did you not have a regular assigned seat?
Because
They
Stowaway?
overbooked their flights.
no, I was in Texas flying to Atlanta, and the plane sat on the tarmac for several hours because of a mechanical issue, which it was just a chip. And so by the time they got it fixed, when I got to Atlanta, I missed my regular flight. So they were able to get me on another one to go to Charlotte,
They
sitting in
just
the
said, you
jump
got to
seat.
sit in the back.
Flying on the
Sit
wing.
in the back.
A wing and a prayer.
Boy,
You
that
gotta
was
sit in
an
that hard
experience.
seat. It is terrible.
I mean,
sat
it's
in
like
one.
you're
oh,
like
it's awful.
this.
Yes,
Oh man,
it is awful.
it was kind of
Yeah.
fun and scary at the same time.
I just don't like it because you're by that door.
Oh yeah,
So it's a mental thing for me. Like, mm-mm.
and it's a little smelly.
oh yeah, just
All that bouncing around next to you.
Oh,
I was in Bonaire. We're leaving Bonaire to come back, and at that time there was no direct flights from Bonaire back to the U.S.
okay.
You fly from Bonaire about 35 miles to Curacao. That was
Okay.
the hub.
Mm.
And so got aboard the plane in Bonaire, and the plane was full. It's a little puddle jumper. It's an ALM. We called it, instead of Antillean Airlines, we called it always lost luggage, always missing luggage, always luggage missing. That was it. ALM, always luggage missing, because you never got there and everything was there. Always had to wait for the next plane to come over. But anyway, we're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and the plane was full. What are we waiting for? Let's go. Little prop,
Right.
twin props.
Yeah.
Finally, lady gets on, and there are no seats there. So she gets to sit up in the cockpit with the pilots. She was wearing hot pants.
Oh my goodness.
Then they invited her to come forward.
Oh, I'm sure they did. I'm sure.
God. Those were the days before they closed the cockpit doors and everything.
Yeah.
Kept them locked. What
Well,
a
you
time.
know, Kelly, that JetBlue and United Airlines are forming an alliance. They're partnering together, and they're going to be called Blue Sky.
Well, they can have it. I don't fly them. I only fly
Just
one
want
airline.
to give you
Yeah.
heads up,
Yeah.
because I know you do not like United Air.
But Americans what I hate the most.
I don't know why. It's,
That 4-day stranded in New York incident. Never again will I ever fly.
Was it during
Yeah.
a snowstorm?
No, it was in the summer.
Well, why didn't you rent a car and drive?
There were none to rent. Don't think we didn't try. It was awful. Never again. Never
they
again.
couldn't get a flight from there to somewhere else,
not
anywhere
for
else.
4 days. Yeah.
So they didn't leave New York and go anywhere else? I mean, you could have gone to Chicago.
We tried it all. You don't understand. I almost got arrested twice. Okay. It is,
Oh, I can understand that.
yeah, just trying to get a flight out. Yeah. So, yeah. This whole thing started when my daughter had a seizure. So, and they wouldn't let her on the next flight.
Hmm.
So, and then so we're stuck for 4 days.
Hmm.
But by God, I made them pay that hotel fee.
Well, good for you.
I tried to get a rental. At this point, couldn't get a train. It was nothing. Everything was booked.
You
I'll
could
never fly
get a
American
train
Airlines
like to
ever again.
D.C. or to,
Awful. Awful. Yeah.
get a flight to Manchester, New Hampshire. You can get out of there. You can get in and out of Manchester.
Oh, yeah, no, I've flown in and out of there a lot. Sometimes when I go to Boston, I fly into there. Easy to get in and out of. But yeah, so no, I will not fly American at all. And they're never on time.
I've never had.
And I take that back. American's the plane I was on with my young child when we hit the food truck on the runway. That's strike 2. I forgot that. Actually, that would have been strike 1. New York was strike 2. And it might have even been United. No, it was United, I think, when I got struck by lightning in the air coming into Boston years ago.
You're flying too much.
Yeah. So anyway,
That's what I figured about helicopters years ago. I've done
You
enough.
won't find me on a
My
helicopter.
number's up. My number is up. I'm not
Mhm.
doing it anymore.
Mm-mm.
Dang it, I did it one more time, but not voluntarily.
It'd have to be a zombie apocalypse before I got on a helicopter. I'll tell you that right now.
I won't give up my gun next time either.
So,
Going with me. Okay. What else we got going, guys? Everything quiet out there? 910. Where are y'all? Are our phones working?
Awful quiet this morning.
That was
it's
working.
Monday. It's the last week of school.
The first week of hurricane season.
Yeah, and it's just Monday. People are tired.
910-333-0139. 910-333-0139. Let's see, what was it? I had an idea over the weekend. I should have written it down.
Well, did you see Trump's latest pardon?
What?
He pardoned 2 Florida shark divers convicted of theft for rescuing sharks in a Goliath grouper from what they believed was an illegal long line. They spotted a long line 3 miles off the Jupiter Inlet. This is in Florida. And this was in August of 2020 and pulled it ashore. The gear alone cost the vessel owner $1,300, and the value of the lost sharks amount to several thousand more.
Were they capturing the sharks? Like I'm confused.
They
Like,
had
what was-
long lines they capture, whatever
Right.
were white lines. And first of all, you cannot keep a Goliath grouper.
The 2 men said they thought they were doing the right thing by confiscating the line and releasing the 19 sharks snagged by its hooks. And were arrested, and Trump has pardoned them. That's
What were they arrested for? Cutting the
Stealing.
lines?
stealing the
Stealing was
sharks and
something.
and the equipment and stuff.
Um,
They thought they were thwarting a crime, not committing one. But state
well,
wildlife
here's the thing
officers
about
charged
that
them.
is you got to just if
Can you prove
think-
that was
if
their
you-
shark?
If you think it's illegal,
Yeah.
then it's a get to the boat. You call the popo.
Mm.
I would have probably done what they did. 'Cause,
Yeah,
you know,
I know, then you can go to jail.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
jurors deliberated for 3 days, longer than the trial itself, before finding the divers guilty.
Yeah.
U.S. District Judge Donald Middlebrook sentenced the pair to 1 year of probation and ordered them to pay $3,345 in restitution to the fishermen whose equipment was destroyed. Though spared from prison, their conviction made them felons, unable to vote, own firearms, or freely travel abroad. So he has given them a pardon, which wipes all that stuff off the record.
I didn't even hear about that
If
one.
you're going to pardon somebody, that one would be one that I might want
I
to think
agree.
about. But they're still going to have to pay the restitution,
Oh,
pay for the
sure.
guy's stuff because you did it wrongly. And pardoning him does not negate the fact that this guy could sue you, I guess.
Yeah.
And,
Probably,
and if
yeah.
I was the guy I'd be filing a suit against them and going after everything that they got. But and I would, okay,
Well, here's another
you can feel bad for them, and good, your
Well,
heart
here's
was in the
another
right place, but
twist.
that's not the point.
Their appellate attorney stressed the fact that a Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission officer declined to investigate the long line immediately and instead said to leave it on the dock for him to collect later. There you go. So
Well,
bad
okay.
investigation.
Well, yeah, but they'd already pulled it up there.
Yeah, but by the time he got there, which was days later, according to this, to pick it up, somebody had already picked it up, thrown it in the dumpster.
Okay, well,
There was a lot of troublesome aspects of the case, they said.
well,
But yeah, well,
what they did was illegal.
right,
You gotta go from there.
right. Yeah,
Oh,
that was an interesting pardon.
Yeah, kind of unusual. Well, if he's gonna have to pardon somebody, I'd pardon somebody like that, and not some rich guy that got caught up in a scheme because he's a rich guy and a friend of my daughter.
You talking about the Trumps of Georgia?
Whoever's.
Let's hear it.
No, I'm just talking about the Trumps of Georgia that were recently pardoned.
Yeah,
But
but they're
they
in,
went after
they're in
them.
Nashville.
Yeah, but they were in Georgia at the time, in Atlanta, at the time that all this went down. And they were referred to as the Trumps of Georgia. They were huge Trump supporters. And I don't know, there's a lot more to the story.
No.
And I was reading up on it, but
Well, their accountant did he get pardoned too or no? Was
I
it the
don't
accountant or the
know.
lawyer?
One of
One of them was
did.
charged with,
I
was either the accountant or lawyer. And, did he get pardoned?
It was
I
like
didn't read
another
that.
Fannie Willis story.
Yeah.
Fonnie. Fonnie Willis story, you know.
Yeah.
I had another one. I don't
Is
know.
her
There's
name
a whole
Fonnie?
bunch
I
to
thought
it.
it was Fanny.
It's Fonnie.
Really?
Yes.
Shoot, I can't.
Yeah.
Oh, Fanny
See,
was-
I always thought it was Fannie too
we all
until
did.
I saw her do it, and she was talking
Yeah,
about
I would
her
change
name
it
being
too.
Fonnie. And I'm like, well, you know.
Okay, we're 6 months or so into the Trump administration.
Yes, we are.
Mhm.
We now don't have a Doge leader, and Trump is not looking like he's going to appoint one right away. He hasn't made a selection. I don't know whether, he caught a lot of grief for the one that he had in there and
You
for
think?
all the actions that were taken. Do you think that in 6 months, 8 months from now, do you think that, or by years in, do you think that the actions that were taken and all the hoopla during all of that time is going to mean anything? Do you think we're going to actually get rid of some of the programs that are costing us fortunes, the FEMA? Do you think that's going to go away or go away as it is now run? Do you think it's going to be streamlined? Do you think we're going to save any money?
I don't think FEMA's going to go away. I think they're going to restructure it all.
Do you think we're going to save any money?
I hope so.
Do you think we're going to be more efficient?
I hope so.
I know. I hope so too. I hope that the lottery will come
It's
through one
hard
day.
to
if I
say
buy-
anything
if
for
I buy
sure.
one.
I feel like there's going to be some changes made. I feel like we're going to do away with some of these programs we didn't need to have. I feel like we're going to do away with sending money to foreign countries for stupidity.
I hope so. I want that done away with.
Yeah.
I want every bit of that done away with.
I just would like to see, and this is like we discussed this before, I want to see a real bona fide itemized list of all the things that they shut down and how much money. I know he was going for like $3 trillion.
It was shut
And he
down.
ended up
Has
in the
anything really been
billions.
shut down? What's been shut down?
Well,
I can't give you a
DEI
list.
programs have been
Sure.
ceased.
They weren't money things, though, right?
Well, that's where grants were given. And I know that from emails we got at work from some of our grants and stuff that had to be immediately, there's certain things you could not do anymore.
Oh, here's
Yeah.
the current list as
And they
of
sent
May
that out.
6 of all the contracts terminated by Doge.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, some substance abuse grants got terminated.
Mhm.
Oh,
We had a
it's
grant that got
excellent.
terminated. We had to
How'd you
end it
open
in
Excellent?
end of April.
Did you reapply for it?
You can't. It's gone.
Okay. Are there other to replace it?
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
So in the long run, there may not be any savings, isn't that right? If they come up with another grant,
Correct.
if they're gonna come up with a different grant, and I don't know how they
Oh, here's a list. Right here.
Well,
whether
some of it-
will be the same way to get that as you were getting the other one.
Well, one of the grants was the COVID-19, which we didn't get that one because I never applied for it because I thought it was dumb. But there was a COVID-19 grant that a lot of substance abuse providers were given.
Why?
Trump ended that because COVID has been over.
Yeah.
Okay. ARPA funds got completely stopped. We were using that money for alcohol purchase and vaping purchase surveys.
Mhm.
And that got, that came quick. I think we lost that towards the end of March, or maybe the beginning of April. And that was throughout the state. All the providers you had to just close out what you had, and you didn't get the full amount. You didn't get
Okay.
the full amount.
Here's 5,600 committees and agencies and other things that they have shut down, like the U.S. Mission to Ethiopia, the U.S. Aid Office of Acquisition and Assistance,
What the heck
U.S.
is that?
Mission to Djibouti, U.S. Mission in Philippines. There's like 5,600 of them listed here. I'm going to share it. but
How much taxpayer money is associated with all of these 5,600?
I would have to probably research it more and get the grand totals. Like this one, that U.S. mission to Honduras, 34.8 million. 34.8. And here's one.
A year?
This was a contract that was awarded. Let me see. It looked like it started.
Contract awarded to whom?
To what did I just say? The Philippines? No, who did I say?
Honduras.
Honduras.
Well, I mean, it's a mission. The United States has missions. I mean, I don't get it. Is this just some outside agency say, "Hey, let me have some money"?
A lot of it's
mission?
due with
What?
U.S. aid. I don't know. I have to click on everything individually in order to get. I mean, there's a list here that is huge. U.S. mission to South Sudan, that was 66.7 million. Oh wow! I mean, it's over 50 pages here.
It's Chris Marks, I think, or Kathy Marks.
That's Kathy. I'll
Okay.
put it in the comments
Yeah,
on our
let me
page
see
today
who it
if
is,
anybody
what's
wants
it all
to.
about. That's weird.
I got to pull up. I'm trying to pull up for her.
Hey, Kathy, what's up?
Before I go.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. I am calling on behalf of Reach Across America,
Mm-hmm.
the group. We ended up having a beautiful day for our bike run.
Good.
Good. And we got 88 wreaths at this
Oh,
time.
really?
Wonderful.
Yes, sir. And I just checked the mail, and I've got, because I sent something to Paul Ron and Ron Paul. I've got something coming in from him.
Okay.
It looks like a personal letter, so we're going to find out if he's going to make a donation or not.
Okay. That's good.
But everybody had a great time. The deputies and Harley. I mean, they could have. Him down there could not have been a better host than anybody I've ever seen in my life. He did everything. Just great. And he helped it. Like I said, the run just went so smoothly. For it being the first time run for the veterans. So we did good. Everyone was like, when are you going to have your next one? When are you going to have your next one? So we are at this time looking at having one again in the fall. So for all those who came out for the first run, we hope to see you out there in the fall run. We'll have to have of course on to the Harley Davidson. And we'd like to see that number double. We hope. So, but we were very excited. This was doing really well with the hot dogs. When all of them came in, they all lined up, and there was a hot dog cooking show.
Oh, yum, yum. Good.
Oh, I forgot about the hot dogs.
I just want to let everybody know it was a success for us.
Okay.
The 88 wreaths for us was
That's
great.
nice.
It was
Very
it was
good.
very good for the first time.
Excellent.
So we will see y'all out there. We're hoping one of y'all will come out there and tag one of us and say, "Hey, guess what? We're here."
Well.
But maybe you can make it to the one we have in the fall. How's that?
Yeah, I had a funeral Saturday.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Anyway, okay. Well, I'm glad it turned out. Thank you.
Well, you're very welcome. I just want to let everybody know in the group that we got new members. We got the sheriff's department deputies as new members, and we pinned them. So we're good to go. And we got, like I said, we're doing good. So y'all have a great Monday.
You too.
You have a good one. I'll talk to you later, Kathy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, I'm sending y'all the link
Well,
to
I
this
pulled
so
up
you can
this.
take a look at it later. But there's like over 50 pages.
Okay, so the president has released in early May his skinny budget proposal for fiscal year 2026. Okay, they looking to cut $1 billion from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration at SAMHSA. SAMHSA is who gives out most, if not all, of the federal grants for substance abuse treatment and substance abuse prevention. So some of the main ones they actually were to be eliminated in the Center for Substance Abuse Prevention's little purview. The Sober Truth on Preventing Underage Drinking is a STOP Act program. It's the only federal grant that funds underage drinking for the most part. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what their main thing is. They're wanting to eliminate that completely. The Strategic Prevention Framework Partnership for Success States and Communities programs. That's a big one here in North Carolina. It's actually a really good one. Tribal behavioral health grants for Indigenous American Indian tribes. The Minority AIDS Initiative, the Strategic Prevention Framework, prescription drug overdose and prescription drug awareness campaign, and then the Minority Fellowship Program. It's like $1 billion. So what they're doing, SAMHSA's coming out and wanting like prevention people and treatment people to contact Congress. The problem is if you get federal grant money, you can't lobby. So I can't lobby. I get federal and state money. I can't do it. It's considered lobbying. But I mean, some of these programs, some of them I don't know about, but I know the underage drinking one's actually a really good one. So I hope it's been proposed to be cut. There may be enough pressure from Congress to not cut that one. I don't know, but we'll see.
This is one going on to Honduras. I looked it up, and I told you it was 34.8 million. Is Honduras Public Effectiveness and Localization Task Order improve the effective governance capacity, transparency, accountability, and citizen responsiveness of government of Honduras institutions under Objective 1 and 2 of.
How much is
Look at
that?
Sam Hill wrote that crap.
34.8 million.
Let's take that 34 million and put it over into our the Stop Act, the underage drinking, the treatment for overdoses, etc. Let's do what?
When they ended that.
First of all, everybody, you've got good causes out there.
Yeah,
too.
right.
Every organization out there is going to have a good place to put that kind of money.
Yes.
Here's one
Here's
right
one way
here.
to put it.
99
Send
points.
forces to the border in Honduras to stop them from getting into Mexico.
But would that be a Mexican issue? Put their own forces there.
No, put our
So
forces.
that's 34 million. You said, Lee, right? Million or billion?
Million.
Okay.
And that was canceled
Okay.
in February.
Is there another one? That's 34. I'm sorry. I had them
All
up
right.
here.
Oh my gosh.
Pick
Let me
another
see.
one. God, there is a lot. Look at that list.
Yeah, I told you it's over 50
Well,
pages.
see, this is why Doge is good, because I guarantee you, I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, or an independent, because I'm going with the three that would be in Congress.
Here's the one that went to
What?
Consensus.
No, none of this.
Consensus Solutions got 7.2 million.
The heck is that?
Well, it is the description. This co-creation and co-design training services award is to provide support and specialized training in strategic design and learning to develop and disseminate
Oh, for God's
new
sakes.
and innovative tools and guidance, deliver trainings and workshops.
Oh, stop.
If you've got a desire to get money from me, if I was a congressman, you want my approval, you better put into one sentence that better not be more than 12 words in length. Done. Just the bullet point.
Just
You got 3 bullet points, 1 sentence each, why it's needed and what you will do with it. You get it. The maximum you will ever get one will be for 6 months. Show me the results or it's done. I don't care what it is. If you can show me results in 6 months, then yes, we'll give it consideration.
Here's one under undisclosed domestic awareness, 1.1 million, but the description is support relief group for pharmaceutical and medical commodities. What has that got?
The pharmaceutical, let me go ahead and tell y'all right now, the pharmaceutical industry does not need any more money.
No, they still not.
At all. I'm here to tell you they do not.
Wow.
Unless it's to be trying to find a cure for cancer, which I strongly think that in some levels we have and we're just not getting it. But that you don't want me to get on that soapbox today. So,
It's just unreal. I told you there's over 50 pages of this.
There are researchers out there doing a lot of great work in the medical field,
yes,
and they're giving money.
but they're stymied a lot too.
Well, here's the other thing. They may be working on so many projects. and their efforts are scattered.
Steve. Yeah.
Their efforts are scattered all over the place.
Yeah.
And how, until they can, the group can really start saying, here's what we've done.
Yeah.
We take them down one step at a time. We'll knock this one out of the ballpark, then we'll swing and a miss at another one, then we'll hit one. We got to start taking them down. I got to see results. They're not publicizing their results. Maybe it's a PR effort. I don't know.
I think it's a stymied effort.
I don't know what it is, but if I just keep on keeping on and don't show me the results, I have problems liking them. Period.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they may be doing a great job. Can't be sure of that. I hope that they may be doing a great job.
To.
I want to see the results.
Yeah.
Put out your results. Let me see what you're doing. That's good for us. Hey, Steve, how are you? How was your weekend?
Hey, it was great, man. Hope yours was too. It was a little damp, but I got to play every time. So
Yeah, off and on.
I didn't get
How many
canceled.
times did you have to move?
You need an umbrella and a wetsuit.
I hear you. Honestly, the rain don't bother me, man, but that electronic equipment.
Oh,
is
yeah,
very
tear that
expensive.
up. Yep.
I don't have to tell you that.
Oh, yeah, Bubba. You
Yeah.
better believe it, especially when there's lightning around and you get some discharges going down the power line. That really messes with your
Yeah.
ear,
Oh, yeah.
even if it doesn't get wet.
Yeah. I don't mind me getting wet, but yeah, the equipment, that's a no-no.
Yeah, it's hard to. You get a towel. That you get it replaced.
I was gonna say I've got some stuff to kind of cover it up if it's something hit me quick, to kind of help me try and get it packed down. But the one speaker I got, the JBL, this is over $2,000, and it says right in the paperwork they're not used outside.
So what do you do? So what do you do?
I use it outside.
Okay,
I ain't got no choice.
You don't follow
yeah, it tells
instructions.
you right on it that it voids the warranty if you use it outside.
Yeah, there you go. I understand.
Yeah, so it's sensitive. That's what they're trying to tell you in that. Very sensitive.
Big old garbage bags, those barrel liners is what you need to have handy.
I do. I've got a couple of those in
I
the car as
figured you did.
well. Yeah, I call them the raincoats. But I take those too as well. But that JBL sits right on the ground, so it's only going to get about an inch of water that it starts getting, encroaching inside the unit.
Lowe's has got some concrete blocks that are 8 inches high. You need to get some for each one of your speakers.
Man, every piece of equipment I buy, I look at how much it weighs, just trying to get something lighter. And you want me to take concrete block?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. A little plastic stand would work though.
That
Something like that to get it off the ground. But generally, I just grab it up and try and get out of the rain with it. So
I understand.
Yeah.
What's going
I was
on?
listening to y'all talking about the Doge cuts there just a few minutes ago. And
I just want to see some results.
honestly, I mean, it smells a little fishy. They said they were going to cut like 2-3 trillion. Their site says around 100 billion. But even some of that is disputable, that they've already disputed some of their numbers in that 100 billion. So yeah, they didn't get nowhere near the goal that they had set for themselves.
Right.
And the cuts that they made, it appears that they were random, not targeted. So that's going to, most of the time that causes inefficiency, not efficiency. So I can't swear to it, but any business you go to, if you just decide you're going to fire half the workforce and you don't even address who's doing a good job and who isn't, that's probably going to cause problems.
You're making my point for me, Steve.
You are. You kind of said the same thing. And I would also add that even with the best idea in the world, if it's implemented with incompetence, it's a bad idea. I think we can all agree with that, right?
Yeah.
No matter how good an idea is, if you implement it with incompetence, it was a bad idea.
I would love to have an analysis before the cuts were made. And I don't want to analyze it to death. Don't get me wrong. Don't study it to death. Some of the stuff that if you handed it to you and me and a bunch of other people like you and me, we would say right up front, would take about 3 seconds to say, you got to do what? You got $34.8 million for some kind of crap in Honduras. What is that doing for me? Period. If I can't answer that in a way, But you better be able to show me very quickly why I need it. Otherwise, you're one and done, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
One and
Well,
done.
and I'm gonna throw this out there. This is borderline conspiracy theory, and you don't hear this from me a lot.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of people suspect that USAID was a front for the CIA, and it was the way that they got into a lot of these countries and put personnel in there. And those countries believe that as well.
Well,
So in my mind, there's a possibility that some of these programs you see ain't really what they say they are.
I do know that a lot of the programs that we had to give aid to foreign countries ended up in the hands of the leaders of the foreign country, not to the people. We trusted our government leaders through the people down line from our government leaders, trusted the folks down line to make sure that the stuff that we flew into these places that had USAID written all over it was distributed to the people that it was meant to go to.
Right.
It wasn't. It went to the government. It was unpackaged in some cases, as we learned through some of that organization you mentioned. We learned over the decades that the governments that intercepted this aid, because we can't just go in there and give it to the people. You understand that, right? They have a plan. Yeah. So we gave it, and they ended up with it. They cut it, the packages open, or repackaged it, and said, look what our government's given to you. You get 1%, we get 99%.
Right.
Done. And by the way, we're going to charge you for it.
Right. And you're 100% accurate in that.
I know
that's correct. All that's correct. But the more to that story is that USAID learned from that mistake, and they changed their policies to where they started using non-government organizations to distribute that stuff. And it still ain't perfect. There were still flaws, because when you got unscrupulous, dirty players out there that are doing stuff like that, taking, that's a big challenge. But they did take steps to address that problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they completely eliminated it, but they did take steps.
Yeah.
And as any organization grows, they're going to see flaws. They're going to see loopholes that need to be addressed. That's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
So, but like I say, it comes back to the same thing you said. They made all these claims, but they haven't really showed many receipts.
I just want to see the results. Just the results.
Right.
Just the results. I don't care about anything. Just the result. How much did you spend, and how much was the return on the investment? If you can't give me something pretty good, then I don't need you. I don't need that kind of you taking my money.
And I would agree with that. I'd say the more pressing problem is if they didn't do that, then they may have created more problems than they solved.
Yeah. Well,
that's my concern.
Yeah.
So, the one with the VA, that's the one that probably bothers me the most. We all know the VA needed more personnel. Now, if the personnel that was hired was put in the proper place and position, that's a question worth asking.
Yeah.
But we all know they needed more resources.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, if the resources were put into the wrong place, they should have been, redesignated, not eliminated. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on the subject.
Okay.
very good.
But hey, I was going to tell you another thing right quick.
Sure.
The downside to my neem oil.
Yeah.
I told you about I had the mildew game because I didn't put the baking soda in it.
Yep.
Well, also it didn't have no pollinators touch my cucumbers for a solid week.
Uh-oh.
All the blooms that came out last week turned yellow.
Uh-oh.
Did not get pollinated.
Oh.
So I didn't put no more neem oil on them, and now they're starting to pollinate them again. So
Okay.
everybody thinks gardening's easy, man.
No,
but
it's
a constant
not.
challenge.
No,
It is a constant challenge to try and beat Mother Nature.
And the more we try to circumvent Mother Nature to make it better, the worse I have. My problem is just not.
That's what I was saying. You try and solve one problem, you can create two more, and that comes back to the same thing we were just talking about.
Yeah, I wish I could just get
if
back.
you don't think it through, you might create more problems than you solve.
I wish I had a way to get back with my granddaddy again and spend about a year working with him and doing nothing else when I was about 15 years old. I'd be a lot better off.
I was going to say, my dad was the same thing. I didn't really want to pay attention when I was younger. Some stuff stuck because just, that's the nature of the beast. But yeah, I definitely wish I would have paid more attention. He was extremely intelligent, and like all children, I thought he didn't know nothing.
Yeah. I understand.
He knew all the old stuff. He didn't know no new stuff.
Yeah. His technology was limited, and so was my dad. But you know what? They were still a lot smarter than I was, and still
experience. Yeah, experience can appear as high intelligence.
Well, it is high intelligence.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a while to get there.
Yeah. Well, like the guy who runs the merry-go-round at the county fair, he might not be the brightest light on the light bulb on the tree, but he can probably run that machine, and you probably can.
It works every day and keeps going round and round the same direction every day.
He knows how to fix it. He knows how to work on it. He knows that machine better than you do, for sure. So
no
intelligence is all in what subject you're talking about.
First thing, you and I would try to make it better. That would be the first mistake.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we would create problems.
That's it.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, I'll let you go. I appreciate the time this morning. Y'all have a blessed day. I'm out here in the park walking the dog. Y'all probably be happy to know that.
I hope you got your little baggie with you.
That's nice.
I do. I got a pocket full of them.
Just want to
I'm
be
sure he does.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I got baggies in one pocket and dog treats in the other.
Oh.
Well, that's
bear spray.
Now, of course, that can create a problem. The dog does his business, and you feed the dog again. Then you're going to have the dog doing his. It's a never-ending cycle, isn't it?
I was going to say, I realize as long as I keep feeding her, she's going to keep pooping.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. As long as we keep putting up with him, Putin's going to keep putting it. Okay.
She's pretty good, though. She likes to hide when she does it. She likes to do it over near the edge of the woods
that's all right.
Somewhere out the way, so she's good for it. But y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you, Steve. You'll be good.
And just real quick to follow up on these programs that I told you that were stopped, it said that it's estimated the total value of contracts terminated by Doge to be $71.1 billion based on current potential values.
Okay, so what are we doing to rehire new contracts?
This is just a list of ones that were canceled.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Can't go any further into it.
I understand. We'll get to it one of these days. Okay, let's go left for a while. Good morning, Charles. What's up?
Charles.
I hope somebody. It doesn't matter. Hey, listen. Did you guys talk about the Colorado shooter?
Yes, we did.
Did you talk about?
You're talking about the Colorado shooter. You're talking about not the Colorado shooters. You're talking about the Mad Bomber.
The bomber.
The Molotov cocktail dude.
Yeah. So you guys spoke about this person?
Absolutely.
Yes, we did.
So you talked about where he was from and his name and everything.
Yeah, we did all that.
Wow.
And then he was here illegally.
I got a feeling this is going to be like the top news story in every network, like The View and everybody. They're going to talk about how this gentleman from Egypt, this illegal alien, entered the United States under Joe Biden, and they're going to talk about how disturbing this is what's going on. And they want to get all these people out of the country, correct?
Who does? The media doesn't.
MSNBC, CNN, they're going to be all over this. They're going to be saying this guy from Egypt.
Yeah, and I thought you were going to give up drinking.
Well, I did actually a little bit.
Okay.
Very good.
They're not going to mention this. They're not going to talk about this.
No, they're not.
It's sad.
No, they're not. They're going to ignore it completely. I could produce a show for them if they like.
But why do you think there's so much disdain from the so-called legacy media towards conservatives? Where does that derive from?
Oh, I don't know. It could be from prior to them getting into it. But, well, first of all, broadcast journalism classes. I know a guy I think he's just retired. University of Georgia School of Broadcasting. Okay. And we're talking about real, honest to goodness broadcasting. This is not an idiot. This professor that I knew him fairly well. He was actually started in the business as a reporter in television, and he worked for a newspaper, and then he worked his way up into management in the news department. And I don't think he was ever an anchor unless he was a fill-in anchor, so he wasn't just a paid reader. And this is a guy who had to do journalism. He had it in his blood. Now, he taught He taught that, but he did not teach. He had to unteach some of the people from their lower first year or two in the University of Georgia before they got into the School of Broadcasting. He had to unlearn them about the mentalities that they had at the time and the things that they thought that they would be spouting when they got their degrees to get into real broadcast TV. But he's one of a million, just one of very few in the country who actually taught the way it should have been taught under the Cronkite rule. If it's news, we know what it looks like. We don't have to be told. We cover it all.
Yeah, mentality is a unique word. I was actually going to use that word. I'm just fascinated by people that are falling for this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what's that hypnosis person that like dangles like a little marble in front of you, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Look behind his back,
and they fall for it.
Yeah, they do.
I don't get it. It's like listen, man, I don't get it. It's like, yeah, they're hypnotized to accept. I don't know. It's sad.
Yep. All right. Hope you had a good weekend, Charlie. Yeah, you too. Bye. Let's take a quick look at the weather. We didn't do it.
That.
Yeah, high pressure is coming in. That's good. We got a low front that we had over the weekend. That's going good. Mm-hmm. We should have some decent weather through at least middle part of the week. Drier conditions. Yay. Warm, but not hot. Out to 20 nautical miles today. Northwesterly winds 5 to 10 knots. That's nice. We're away from those 20 to 30 knot winds. Becoming westerly this afternoon. Seas only about 2 feet and they're 6 seconds apart. Sounds and rivers a light chop, diminishing to flat this afternoon. Tomorrow, easterly winds 5 to 10 knot, seas about 2 feet, but they're going to be kind of close together, making them choppy. Sounds and rivers a light chop. Tomorrow or Wednesday, easterly winds 5 to 10, 2 to 3 footers. Sounds and rivers a light chop. It's very doable this week, and I understand the Spanish Miracle are all over the place.
The nighttime temperatures are
Nice.
awesome.
Nice.
Today, sunny with a high near 83, north wind 5 to 7 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 56. Tuesday, sunny with a high near 84. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night, clear with a low around 59. And Wednesday, sunny with a high near 85. Weather to me.
Yeah, this is almost fall, but it's good. It's good. Very good. Yeah, we've talked about this guy, the whatever his name
The
is.
Egyptian.
Yeah, and I again here I've got to blame our government, and Trump, you're in charge. Where are your people? You've done a fairly decent job by scaring the bejesus out of the people to keep them from coming into the country. We've got that. The Border Patrol's done a good job. They're scaring them. They've got the wherewithal now to be able to scare them without having some president coming down on their heads. So they're doing their job. Now, what about the rest of them? What about the people that are still in this country that are here illegally, including, we know the people with visas who are here and the visas have expired. We know who they are. We probably know where they are. If not, we can generally find them. At least we got enough information to looking for them. Those who came across the border illegally and that, previous administrations, and I'm not talking about just Biden. I'm talking about even during the Trump first 4 years, he didn't do anything, tried to build a wall and, got stymied at all of that by his arch enemies, the Democrats in Congress. But there was Obama, there was Bush, there was even back to the first Bush. We got Clinton, of course. These people were doing nothing, and now we're in this boat. So, but we got to get rid of those people. We've got to get them across the border. Now let's line them up. First of all, cut off all support to them. I don't care who they are. I don't care what their dire needs are. Here's your bus ticket. This is your support. Here's the bus for you, your children, your spouse. Get aboard the bus. Here's one ticket. You will be on this bus and you will be let up. You won't get off this bus till you get to the border. You came into this country across the border. You're going to leave this country across the border, but you're going to be going south, not north. Okay, goodbye. Tell Mexico. The weather's there good. Once you're down around the border, hang out there. You can get a tent. Do whatever you want to do. But you got going to do it in this country, not at my expense. I am tired of you. I don't like you. Didn't like you in the first place. You came here illegally. I really don't care why you came here. I just know how you got here.
Well, reading further on this.
And let me go back to those people,
Yes.
those two guys that Trump pardoned. I
Right.
don't care why they did it. They did it illegally.
Right.
So they should have been arrested. They should have been convicted, of which they were. The pardoning for the future, long as they're going to pay whatever the fees and all that sort of good stuff are, give the man his money and some punitive damages as well, but also pay for the arrest, the prosecution, the trial, pay for all of that. Were you going to pay? Because it costs us money because of your stupidity. We, the taxpayers, plus the guy who lost his long line. So I don't care why you did it. It's for the greatest cause in the world, but it was illegal. And you hurt somebody. Whether he was doing something legal or not, okay, then report him.
Well, this guy Solomon has been in the U.S. illegally only for the past 2 months because he had applied for a work visa after that first one, and it expired in March. So that's what I meant when I was saying is that they're so busy with the border, stuff like this slip right through the cracks.
They'd get out.
Yeah.
We've got the border mostly under control with the people that we've got there. We're good to go. Now turn the rest of them loose that have been redirected. Send them around, round them up. Start with those that came into this country legally, that have visas that have expired. We don't want them here. Why do we have this guy who's obviously anti-whatever? We don't need another anti-protester guy here. Get him out. He should have been gone.
Wow.
I guarantee you, if they do enough background, they probably should not have kept him here or given him a work visa in the first place.
Yeah, well, that was the Biden administration that did that. It said that the Biden administration gave him a work permit, which because his visa had expired, he overstayed that, the first one. But here I'm reading where in 2005, he was denied a visa.
Why?
It did not say.
That's
It says it's unclear if he tried again before 2022 when he was ultimately approved.
Yep.
Wow. A lot of stuff slipped through the cracks here.
Yep.
It's a shame.
Well, a
It's
crack.
just
It was a
sad.
crevice.
Yeah.
Very large,
A
expanding
valley.
crevice.
Absolutely a valley.
Who we got coming up tomorrow?
No one as of yet.
Okay, we got to get the school superintendent. We got to get the county manager.
I'm working on Dr.
We
Barnes.
need
He's
both of those
committed to
gentlemen in
coming
here,
on.
right away. And I will work on our.
The county manager wants to get the budget approved, and then he'll be in this
That's
way.
close enough. Come on in.
Yeah. Well, And speaking of such, there is a county commissioner meeting today. I think it's Jennifer. There's a county commissioner meeting. I believe this is the 11 o'clock one.
I don't know.
The first one of the month is during the morning hours. I'm going to double check them.
I don't know, Jennifer. What time is it where you are?
What time is it where I am?
Yeah.
According to Mr. Microwave, it is 8:53.
Oh, that's good. Your microwave is right. I'm just checking.
Look, I heard you were talking about the getting them out of the country and this and that and the other. And my thought is, I looked at Terry and I said, imagine how much they could do if everybody would agree and work together. But you have governors and congressmen and women and judges and you've got them saying, oh no, you're not going to touch our people. This is this sanctuary place, or all kinds of excuses. Imagine if they would all get on the same page, just how much better it would be.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he has spent. There's been more against in just these few months that he's been in office fighting every judge around because, oh no, we're going to block this, we're going to block this, we're going to block that. And it makes absolutely no sense to me. I guess it's not supposed to. I'm just an old country hillbilly. But they need to work together or it's never going to get any better. And like I've said before, until it's some of their people that's getting hurt, getting burned, their grandmother out there protesting, they get some Molotov cocktail thrown at her, it's not going to change.
No.
Because they don't have any skin in it. It's not going to change until they're affected. So that's just my little 2 cents on that on this glorious day. So y'all have a good week.
Thank you.
And we will talk to you later.
We appreciate
All right.
it.
You too, Jennifer.
Bye-bye.
Well, I just verified the meeting is at 11 a.m.
Okay.
this morning. I was just looking at the agenda, and they have several more workshops this week on the budget. So hopefully soon they'll get that one taken care of. See if there's anything interesting that they've got on the agenda today. Infrastructure and Jobs Act, Albert J. Ellis Airport taxi, way and runway rehabilitation, which is all good. Energy programs outreach plan. Deaton Wassa is requesting that the county deed a portion of its parcel 040283, an existing well site, to Onwaza. Then you got the Rustic Barn 2025 Independence Day fireworks display. They want to be permitted to do fireworks.
What?
Town of Swansboro.
Who won't be permitted? Swansboro?
Yeah, no, this is the Rustic Barn. That's right
Oh,
there off
Rustic
of
Barn.
Garbage
I got
Trail.
you. Okay.
They want to do a big firework. Or I could sit on my back porch and watch that. Town
No.
of Swansboro 2025 Independence Day fireworks display. They're wanting a fireworks permit. And then you've got some other nonprofits asking for stuff. And it looks like a busy morning. ABC board appointments. They're going to be appointing some to vacancies or reappointing the ones that are on there. Holly Ridge Planning Board, extraterritorial jurisdiction, ETJ.
Oh,
They're going to be discussing that.
okay.
Proclamations, elder abuse awareness. You ought to like that one, Ray.
Let's talk about
Yes.
extraterritorial jurisdiction.
Okay, let's do.
What kind of extraterritorial jurisdiction are they thinking? Is it something that
Okay.
the local government, like a Holly Ridge or a Swansboro or a Richlands or North Thompson, that
This is what this is
they can
about.
actually go outside and tell people how to
Right.
live who did not vote for them?
All right, the Board of County Commissioners of each affected county appoints extraterritorial members to the Municipal Planning Board and Board of Adjustment. And Miss Anna Gaskins has expressed an interest in continuing to serve on the Holly Ridge Planning Board as the extraterritorial jurisdiction representative. So that's what it's all about.
But what I'm asking is,
I don't know.
why is there an extraterritorial jurisdiction? We don't have an extraterritorial jurisdiction in Mexico, do we? We can't control what
is
they
the whole
do
point of it?
south of the border, can we? We can't tell them how to run their business 1 mile outside the United States, can we? That would be a mess if we did that, right?
Yeah. If you want out, you just have to know somebody and go and request that you be taken out and get it voted on. I mean, wasn't there a business last year, a year before, that wanted out of the area it was in and got one of his House of Representatives to
So that kind of stuff still irritates me. I
pull some
understand.
strings?
I understand a law enforcement officer when you got a crime that's committed inside Holly Ridge, for instance, being
Right.
able to go outside Holly Ridge as the guy is trying to get away from you,
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
to
I'm
chase
all
him
down.
down or
Mhm.
whatever,
Right.
to arrest him for the crime that he committed inside the city limits, but not to go outside the city limits of Holly Ridge to enforce a law outside the city limits. No, you don't want to do that.
Right.
Or what's the difference in that and having the planning commission, the Holly Ridge Planning Commission, telling somebody who lives outside the town limits of Holly Ridge, say, well, you can't do this here because, it's close to Holly Ridge. No, I don't agree with that. That's what Onslow County's there for.
They also are having a flu season summary presentation too by the health
Okay,
board. So.
well, good. Okay,
Anyway.
tomorrow we got to find some people to have in here.
Yeah, we
y'all
will.
want to talk? You want to come on board? You got something you got a good project you want to talk about? Let's bring it on.
Right.
We want to hear from you. You got something that's really irking you, like things irk me? Love to hear from you.
What irks you, Rayford?
Huh?
What irks you?
Oh, I don't. You've done more than listed on that Doge report.
Anything? Oh, well, I sent you both the link, and you've got, like I said, it's a lot there.
Mm-hmm.
But just reading some of the descriptions on some of them, and most of what I've seen so far has been coming out of the USAID office, and for special projects.
Okay.
Your tax dollars.
All right, I'm tired of my tax dollars going to any projects. You're live and local. Real talk. It's Monday, and we're awake, not awoke, not woke. We are awoke, but not wake.
What?
We're awakened, but we're not
We're
woke.
confused.
No, we're not. I know what I'm talking about. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a great rest of your day. Be safe.